everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Dribble podcast. My name is Craig O'Donoghue from the West Australian newspaper, taking you through another season of talking to guests from the Perth Wildcats, Perth Lynx and WA basketball in general to give you the best insight possible into what's happening in the sport throughout this state. In this week's episode, we'll be talking to Perth Wildcats Associate Head Coach Mike Kelly ahead of the annual Pink game at RAC Arena on Thursday, plus Perth Lynx star Lauren Scherf will explain how on earth she's gone from being a traditional centre to one of the WNBL's most versatile players. But firstly, it is a massive week for the Wildcats. Their annual Pink game is a great occasion and it raises thousands of dollars for Breast Cancer Care WA. It's also a huge week for them to be back on court given they've won their last two games and can get into a positive win-loss column with a win over Adelaide. The Wildcats Associate Head Coach Mike Kelly will play a big part in all of that, and he's with us on the phone. Mike, welcome to the Dribble podcast.
Hey, thanks for having me.
As I mentioned, it's a huge week for the club. What will it mean to walk out onto RAC Arena to see it pink instead of red?
Yeah, very special. In all the years that it's happened, whether I was with the Wildcats or with another team, you see that, and just the I guess the notoriety it brings, and the media attention, and just the attention to breast cancer awareness is just a great thing. So to be a part of it is special, and I think all of us have been touched by breast cancer through our mothers or someone we love, and so it's just a great thing that the Wildcats are doing, and great to partner up with breast cancer awareness.
So as you said, it touches everyone. My mother-in-law is a survivor, so it certainly touched our family. Has it been through your family? Has someone you know really close who's had to endure fighting breast cancer?
Yes, I mean my mom's gone through it. It was a long time ago now, and thankfully she's healthy. And we had people in. One was someone who's dealing with breast cancer now. One of the people, and people from the Cancer Council, and that's been they said early detection is the biggest saving grace. So if you can get to it early, and I think the awareness of that is important, and so I was very fortunate that my mom got to it early. So yeah, has touched us.
It always feels like an event. I've always felt the Pink game. It's a game of basketball, but it's more. You can feel it with the way the crowd engages with it. It just always feels like a huge occasion. And we saw what was great for the most recent game you played was that the passion was really back throughout the crowd, and they were up and about, and it felt like the jungle again. Are you really focusing now as a team on trying to make this home court advantage real again, rather than what it had been towards the back end of last season, where teams had started to feel a bit more comfortable coming here?
Well, I think you always want to protect home court, and RAC Arena is pretty special home court advantage, and so yes, we are trying to get that done. But the way we do it is just by playing good basketball and being tough on every possession. So it's not something that we say, hey, let's get the crowd really loud. What we do is just try to play good basketball and make it tough for teams to score, and we've been a little better at that over the last couple of weeks.
So the last Pink game was the final game of last season. Bryce Cotton top scored with 28 points, and Michael Frazier II nailed 5 3-pointers on the way to 22 points. And coincidentally, he's just signed with the Illawarra Hawks. I'm told you two were really close last season. How happy are you to see him getting this opportunity?
Yeah, he was close with a lot of us. Great guy, and just really happy for him to get another opportunity. I knew he'd end up somewhere. I had no idea it was going to be in the NBL again. But yeah, just a quick text to him to congratulate him yesterday, and didn't hear much back other than thank you. And I'll see him. I think it might be New Year's. We'll see him.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Yeah, super excited for him.
So in the dealings I had with him last season, he was the nicest, most polite and professional person you could ever meet. He was impossible not to like. Do you think the way he handled the John Brown saga would have made him more employable for other NBL teams because they've seen the character that he brings?
Yeah, I think so. I thought he handled that whole situation well. But basically teams want to win, so they're bringing in the best player available. So the Hawks saw something they like about him on the court and would have got good reports of him as a person as well. So, yeah, I mean, I hope he goes there and plays his best basketball and helps him be competitive.
Todd Blanchfield spoke after training today, and he said that he reckons the Illawarra's style will really suit him. Would you agree with that? Do you think that the way they play suits his major weapons the most?
Well, I think they need some toughness, and he brings that defensively. They've had guys in and out, so it remains to be seen what their best group is and how they'll play when they get everybody in there. They've had so many injuries, so. Yeah, I think it's there's a role for him for sure in that 3 spot, and he can even play some small ball 4.
It's a big week for you. You turned 55 on Sunday. Happy birthday! How did you celebrate Big 5-5?
Well, the reason I'm not a big celebrator of birthdays, but just being around my family was really cool. So we had training that day, and then I had the rest of the day with my family, so it was pretty special that way.
I find your life quite remarkable. Like people who travel for their sport from a career standpoint are always going to be on the road a lot. You went to high school in Santa Ana, California, and college was then about 10K down the road, and then eventually college became 200K down the road when you changed colleges. Since then, you've coached or played in Taiwan, Country New South Wales, Metropolitan Melbourne, Townsville and Far North Queensland, Wollongong, back to California, over to Utah, back to Townsville, back to Melbourne, up to Cairns, and now you're in Perth. Like, have you ever felt settled throughout all of this?
Jeez, when you put it like that, no. It's funny. My kids they were all born here in Australia. My wife is American and Australian now. We have been a lot of different places, and probably in Utah. We were there for 5 years at Utah Valley University, and that's kind of the neighborhood my kids remember as the neighborhood they grew up in. So 5 years, that's about as settled as we've been. But I just always think wherever my family is, that's where my home is. And so I've been really fortunate with Annette and 3 awesome kids to be together for most of that time. Now my kids are getting old enough where they're making their own decisions. So we'll figure things out as we go.
Is it a stressful lifestyle when you've got kids who you have to worry about with school and things like that? It's not just about where am I going to find my next job. It's about where are they going to be comfortable living. How difficult is it when you're going through constant change? Because that's what sport is. There's no guarantees year by year. What's it like going through the home life of it?
Yeah, it's interesting. Been super fortunate to finish school and then get to play basketball for a long time and now coach basketball. But yeah, with the kids and moving school, that's probably the most stressful thing. And I would also say with Annette moving so many different places and kind of having to start a new life both for herself and for the kids. And I always slot right in with a group of basketball players and coaches, and so that's kind of like a ready-made little unit that you get close with pretty quickly. So yeah, it has been stressful on the kids, and 2 things that it makes them adjust quickly, and so I think they've gotten used to that. But the hard thing is they don't feel like they have those roots probably that I did growing up, where I never moved for my whole life.
And at least one of them's gone to US college from an age perspective. The other's doing similar things. I know one went back to your old college. Is that right? That's
right. Yeah, my daughter Ashton finished up at Westmont College. Kind of came back during COVID and finished her last few months here online, and is now doing her PhD up in Cairns. So we're fortunate to have her back here. We weren't sure that she was going to come back to Australia. And then another daughter, Kirsten, is here in Perth with us. She's going to uni, and Josh, my youngest, is looking to go to play basketball next year at college in the States. So we'll see how all that works out.
Exciting times for them. It's terrific. The one part of your resume that does make me laugh, though, is that your first professional contract was with the Lucky Cement basketball team in Taiwan. What the hell is Lucky Cement?
You know what? I didn't really have much to do with the business, but it was a big cement company. When I was getting out of uni, had a chance to play, was looking at a couple different things, but I had come from a very small school and had always played as kind of a four-man and not a perimeter player, and they were looking for bigs in Taiwan, and Lucky Cement was the team. So went out there for 9 months, and after living in Taipei, first time away from home, I felt like I could live anywhere. I was so homesick that year and didn't speak Chinese that it was a little difficult at first, but once I got used to it, then I felt like I could adjust to anything.
And you certainly did adjust. You come over here and became one of the dominant players of the competition. It's just gone 26 years since you were the grand final MVP for the Southeast Melbourne Magic. What are your memories when you look back on that sort of an occasion? Not just win one, but to be the best player on court.
Well, I had, I was really fortunate. We had a really good team of players. Sam McKinnon, Tony Ronaldson, Billy McCaffrey. We just had a group. Chris Hansty, John Dorge. It was a great group of players. Darren Lucas, Andrew Parkinson. So for me to get named MVP, it was really just because I happened to be guarding Andrew Gaze and was able to just slow him down a little bit, which was a team deal. But for whatever, I think a number of guys could have gotten it, but I was just happy to win the championship and be a part of that group. And that was the hardest part, is winning the championship. I got to 5 other championship series, and that was the only one I won. So, it's a great memory, and it's a great thing to have on the resume, but really just winning the championship is kind of the biggest point in my NBL career.
I love how people try to talk their performances down. I just happened to be guarding Andrew Gaze as well as playing really well at the other end of the court. Like, it's an extraordinary performance to stop him in any game, let alone in the grand final series. You're also an NBL Coach of the Year, aren't you?
You heard me. I said slow him down. I never said stop him. Like, slowing him down is, I hold him to 20 points or 22 points and think I do pretty good. And then he's got like 12 assists and 10 rebounds as well. So, that was my great job of slowing him down.
You're also an NBL Coach of the Year, and didn't get a lot of opportunities after that, or when it went sour in Cairns. But you've led the Boomers in both the Asia Cup and the World Cup qualifiers. You're doing such a great job here. We saw the work you did when Scott Morrison couldn't get into the country. Where do you sit with wanting to be a head coach again? Do you have the aspirations at 55, or do you see yourself as this being the role that suits you most from here?
Well, I'm really happy where I am. I love the Wildcats and I love Perth, but I still have the itch to coach as a head coach. I love doing it. Like, the opportunity to just be involved with the Boomers is fantastic, and with Brian Gorgon being out of the country some of the time and unavailable, like, very fortunate that he said, "Hey, can you step up and just kind of take the reins while I'm away?" So just being a head coach is it's special. You get to shape the culture and the program of where you are and make decisions. So I love that challenge and would love to do it again somewhere. But I really do like where I am right now, and I love working with John. Really, working with Danny Mills, working with this group of players. It's just it's a fantastic place to be. So, to say I want to or need to, it's not really like that. I really like where I am right now, but if opportunities do come up, then I definitely would look at them.
So what's it like taking over as sort of an interim Boomers coach? I suppose you almost describe it as, when Brian's not around. Like, you're not totally in charge, so you're following a lot of what he wants to do, but you're also putting your own imprint on it. How do you balance between the two?
Well, the great thing was that I got to go to Melbourne when we were the Boomers were playing China and Japan, and Brian was the head coach at that time, and John really was in that group as well as another assistant. So got to see how Brian wanted things done and how he ran training. So basically had the template of what he wanted to do and how style of play, I guess, and also just introduced me to the culture, just being around the players, and that's probably an even bigger thing than the X's and the O's. But that template was set. And then I just tried to continue to establish that template while the players carry on the culture. And I just am a part of that. So, I'm mindful of kind of the key concepts that Gorge wants to continue to have in the program. But then he'll watch a game. He's like so supportive. It's amazing for myself and the other assistants. We had Jacob Chance and Jamie Perlman, Kerry Williams, Brad Davidson have all come in and been fantastic with the Boomers as assistant coaches. We'll run stuff that Gorge wants, and then if we have a few different players, we've run different things. We have Keanu Pinder in there. We're running more lobs. Thon Maker, same. If we've got shooters in there like Dejan Vasilovic, then we're running things to get him open shots, and Todd Blanchfield the same. So, we kind of do make it suit our players, but the template is gorgeous, and he'll watch the games and he'll be like, oh, I see what you did off that one set, or I like how you guys are attacking in pick and roll defense. Like he's very, very supportive. So we put little tweaks on it, but we stick to his key concepts.
Now, from a head coaching perspective, it's ironic that you're over here with Perth these days, because I reckon that the 2020 final series would be the thing that keeps you up at night. You came here, lost game 1 in overtime, where it was so tight you could have easily snatched that game. Then you dominated game 2. Lost game 3. I remember Cam Oliver trying to do a reverse dunk at one point when it was a really important part of the game, and he rimmed it out, and suddenly the momentum sort of changed. How do you reflect on that, given it's in your face every single time you step foot onto a training session?
Well, the hard part is every time I start feeling good about myself or say something, then Bryce or Mitch will remind me about that series, or I'll be watching film and it'll be on like Perth Wildcats offensive sets. This is how we want to run it, and it's from that year when Cairns Taipans are defending and I'm coaching, and we're getting beat by one of the Perth Wildcats plays. So that was a special time. We had a great group, and that series was amazing. And we played against a really good Perth Wildcats team. So kind of funny to be a part of the history of the Perth Wildcats as well as the Cairns Taipans during that year. But all I can take is the good memories, and move on from there. And I tried to learn from that and just be a better coach, because there was things that I could have done better. And then if Nick Kay hadn't hit 4 out of 6 threes, including that one at the halftime buzzer, then maybe it would have been a different story in the grand final.
And if Bryce hadn't scored 42 points, it might have made your life a little bit easier as well. You are the only person in the NBL at the moment to have been a head coach against Bryce Cotton and now be an assistant coach with Bryce Cotton. Take us inside the contrasting worlds of planning to stop him and planning to help him.
Yeah, interesting. It's, kind of like I said with Andrew Gaze, I never really thought I could stop him, but I thought I could maybe contain him a little bit or slow him down as a player. And I think with Bryce, you try to do the same thing if you're defending against him. And as a coach on his side, trying to get him as many easy looks as possible, or because he's such an unselfish player and makes the right play, just putting him in a position where you know that he's going to get double teamed, and you're going to have someone right there that you want shooting the ball, either at the rim or a wide open 3-point shooter, and just trying to get him in the right positions to do that, and then encourage him to continue to make that right play, which he does all the time. So, it's fun getting to know him. It takes a little time to get to know somebody, and I'm getting there with him, and it's just a pleasure to see him every day and the way he attacks and competes every day at practice, as well as the whole world, how they see him at game days, and he's special that way. So just a joy to be around.
Now, is there any danger at all that you're going to get to coach Bryce Cotton in a green and gold uniform instead of a red and black one? Do you think we're getting closer?
That would be special. Yeah, you know what? I stopped asking. I know they'll tell us all when that does happen, but it sounds like they've been making good progress over the last few months. So we'll see any day now, I hope. But I'm not holding my breath. I'm just waiting to be told instead of asking every day.
Yeah, it's felt like any day for 2 years, hasn't it, from Wildcats
Yeah.
fans? Now, sport is a very serious business. Sometimes lighthearted moments do stand out, though. And I've got to say kudos to Alan Williams from the Southeast Melbourne Phoenix on Thursday night. His team lost and he fouled out with 80 seconds left on the clock. Then with 19 seconds remaining, the Wildcats dancers did their famous routine where they get right in the face of the visiting team. Williams knew he wasn't going back on the court, and when he realised what was going on behind him, instead of engaging in the timeout, he watched them. And our media bench is right next to the Phoenix bench, so I asked him for a response at the post-game press conference about what he had just seen for the first time with those dancers getting up into everyone's faces, and this is what he said.
It was a pretty aggressive, dance battle type thing, obviously in different circumstances. I pride myself in being a pretty good dancer, so if I had my crew with me, I think we would have gave them a run for their money.
Now, Mike, you've been in that position before where all that stuff's going on. It feels like mayhem around you. You're trying to coach a timeout against the Wildcats and the dancers are up in your face. Did you ever notice them, or were you too busy just doing what was going on and it wasn't a distraction like it was for him?
Yeah, I didn't know that was a thing. I'm hearing about this for the first time even now. So, no, I'm pretty... I've got the goggles on and don't notice, or the blinders on, don't notice too much around me. But I do know there's always been a guy kind of behind the bench screaming and yelling at guys, and I've heard that guy a few times.
Yes, nice and loud, that's for sure, at the Wildcats, which is one of the great parts of the game. Well, look, thanks for joining me. Wildcats host Adelaide 36ers at RAC Arena on Thursday night in the annual Pink game. It's a huge occasion, so wear something pink, buy something pink, cheer until your face turns pink. Just do whatever you can to help with Breast Cancer Care WA. So thank you very much, Mike Kelly, for joining us. Really appreciate your time.
Yeah, I appreciate it too, and I echo those sentiments. Can't wait for Thursday.
Now, something really unique is happening at the Perth Lynx this season, and it's been incredibly cool to watch. Vice-Captain Lauren Scherf is transforming herself in front of our eyes from one of the league's best bigs to one of the league's most versatile players. And she's on the line now to discuss this fascinating change to her game. Lauren, welcome to the Dribble podcast.
Thank you for having me.
Now, when we spoke at the start of last season, I talked about how exciting it was for this team to have someone like yourself as an imposing presence under the basket. And you certainly gave the Lynx that last year on the way to finishing runner-up in their MVP award. But now, you're not only winning the rebounds, you're taking off and running down the court and dribbling like a point guard. How did this come about?
Well, it's always been there. I guess Ryan is just really magnifying my skills, in all aspects, in all areas. So I've always, had the confidence to do it. But I guess being under Ryan, he's given me the extra confidence to be able to go out there and do it.
So from a pure statistical point of view, you've played 4 games, so I'm going to compare your stats right now to after 4 games last season. So last season you had 36 rebounds after 4 games. That's risen to 41. So you're having just as much, in fact, more of an impact on the boards. But you only had 4 assists last year, and now you're on 23. So it's clearly working for you. Is it more fun to play this style of game?
For me, yes. Me contributing in all aspects, not just in the rebounding, shooting. And, if I can get my teammates open, we've got a boatload of shooting, in Amy Atwell, Chloe Bibby, Sammy, Sharpie, Robbi Ryan, you can just name everyone on the team because they can shoot. And if I can do my little bit of, being able to get them open, then I know that I've done my job in the game.
So the stereotypical coaching thing is to say, okay, you're big, you stand over there and do this, and let the little people run around and handle the ball. Do you hope that this might open up some people's eyes that, if you're a big 14-year-old, that you can do something different, and don't just pigeonhole them and say you have to do this. Let them develop their skills and be something more.
Well, that's exactly right. I made the decision when I was 14 years old. I was just pinpointed as this huge big, just go under the basket, go rebound, go get some small touches, that kind of thing. And I wanted to build my game not just from being inside big, and I also wanted to expand. And, so I made that conscious decision to go under a coach who made me play point in juniors. And he was like, right, Loz, we're going to put you in the point. This is what we're going to do. He was like, I don't care if you make a mistake, whatever you do, we're going to put you out of your comfort zone. And I just think that decision that I made when I was 14, 15 years old has really, made a stamp in my career personally. Yeah.
So has Ryan been the first professional coach to actually give you the license to do different things and not be afraid to make a mistake?
I don't think it's that. I think Ryan has been able to put me in a position where he has made my game, he's made to be able to emphasize all aspects of my game. So me dribbling down the court, like, I've just done that on my own. He hasn't told me to do that. He's like, okay, Loz, like, if that's what he's literally made my game being like, Loz, I'm letting you do what you have to do, and I want you to go outside the box, and if I have to, I will rein it in, but I want you to test the waters. So he's allowing me to do what I can, and then if he doesn't like it, he'll rein me back in.
So we're seeing the future happening already from an NBA perspective with Victor Wembanyama. I always struggle to pronounce that. Now we just call him Victor in the office. Likely number 1 draft pick at 220 centimetres and running around like a point guard and doing crazy stuff. I'm not sure if you've seen any of his vision. Have you seen any of him overseas at the moment?
A little bit.
So when you see him running around, do you think that this is the future now? That big players are going to be doing big things?
I mean, I think that the game's just evolving, and, it's not always, going to be the standard, there's a 5-man in the basket, you got the point guard and, shooting guards and whatever. I think the game is just evolving, and that's what's making it so exciting is all these different players at whatever heights and whatever skills, like, it's just enabling the game to be that much better.
So Ryan was jumping out of his skin during the pre-season when I was talking to him. He goes, you're not going to believe how Lauren Scherf's going to play this year. She is going to be the next, it's unbelievable sort of stuff. It must be great to have a coach like him who just backs you in so much and loves trying stuff and being different and letting you be you.
Yeah, I mean, it helps, with my confidence and, with my game. And I think that being under Ryan has really taken my game to the next level. And I really appreciate what, his basketball mind and, how he goes about things. And I think that just helps me develop in my game personally. And, I enjoy going to trainings and I enjoy, what he has to say and, his basketball mindset and, what he's thinking at the time. And I'm always learning from him as well. So I think me learning from him is also making my game that much, better.
Now, you've become a 3x3 star for Australia as well, and this moment a couple of months ago was massive for your career.
15-13, they've done it. They've come back from 10-6 down. 9-3 they went through from there, and Australia may not have got the gold, but they still have won a medal at every Commonwealth Games in women's basketball that it's been played.
So bronze medal at the Commonwealth Games. What was that like for your career?
That was probably one of the best experiences of my entire life. The Com Games, I have no words every time I think about it or, speak about it. It was just so surreal, and to be a part of, something so iconic and, that's on the way up with 3-on-3, that was the first ever time 3-on-3 was at the Com Games, and I, to be a part of that and making history, it was something I will forever be grateful for. And to be along with those girls that are now playing in the WNBL, and, every time I see them, we just all have this sense of of what we had just achieved, and, that feeling will never go away. And I commend the coaches and everyone that was there. And it just makes me emotional every time I talk about it, because it was just one of the best things that I have done in my career to date.
So it was very Lynx orientated squad when you look at the yourself, and then Lauren Mansfield, who's a former co-captain of the team, Marina Whittle, who'd previously played for the team. Alex Wilson hadn't, but we'll just imagine that she had because it makes it sound better. What did playing in that sort of environment and that sort of game allow you? Well, we've talked about your skills. Did that enhance some of the skills we're talking about for this season?
Yeah, so I think that 3-on-3 has given me this extra aspect of my skills that I didn't know I could tap into. Being under Damon Lowry and Dave Brewer, I think that their knowledge of the game is out of this world, and for them to redefine it in a 3-on-3 aspect, I think it's given people the kind of confidence to go out there and just be, just go play ball. And if you make a mistake, that's fine. Don't stress. We're just playing basketball. And that's what they make the environment so much fun. And it's just, you go into camps and you're like, we're going to work hard, but it's going to be fun and we're going to be physical. And that's what we love about 3-on-3. And I think being a part with those girls and the coaches and all the staff there that were behind the scenes, just making it fun. And I think that's what 3-on-3 is all about.
So we talked about pigeonholing before. There's a danger then you can become pigeonholed as a 3-on-3 player when you also want to play for the Opals, because you have success and suddenly everyone says that team's important. Where do you sit with your Opals aspirations at the moment? So I thought you were dead stiff not to be part of, not to have more of an opportunity with that World Cup group. Do you know why you're not in the team at the moment? Do you know what you have to work on? And where do you see yourself sitting as part of that entire Opals environment?
I still have aspirations with the Opals. I mean, it's always going to be a goal of mine to go to the Olympics, and I know that it's a tough environment. The Opals is the best of the best, so you're going up against the best of the best, and it's going to be hard and it's going to be ruthless. And I know that you have to put you have to put everything aside just so you can make the Opals. So I know that it's going to take a lot of dedication and effort, and if you want it badly enough, you will get there. And I mean, it's not always about the destination, it's about how you get there and everything. So I just think that I still have aspirations for the Opals, and that hasn't gone away. But I think that being in the 3-on-3 has also, opened up another aspect of my skills that will help with me getting to the Opals as well.
We'll certainly hope that becomes a reality for you, because you've been, as I say, been amazing to watch for before you got to the Lynx, and now that you are at the Lynx, it's always fun watching you play. Now, there's been a lot of major changes to your team this year, and 3 of them are really obvious at the moment. So I want to talk to you about some of these players, because some of them you know really well, some of them you haven't had a lot to do with yet, but are building relationships. But one of them that you've obviously had a relationship with for a while is Chloe Bibby, and she's been superb. Talk to us about Chloe.
What can I say about Bibs? She's a larrikin. No, I love Bibby. We go way back, playing at Dandenong, and before she went off to college, and then we recently played at Kilsyth together before this season. But she's just an all-round great human. She's the life of the party, or she comes in with a great attitude and, always making everyone laugh and smile. And, she, and plus that, her work ethic and, what she does and brings on the court, I always know that I have 100% trust in her, and that she's always going to, bring 110% to every game. And, she's just one of those physical, gritty humans that, will get down and, do the 1%ers. And, I'm so glad to be playing back with her.
She's been superb, probably leading the MVP award along with yourself. I reckon you two would be battling for it at the moment after the first 4 games. Amy Atwell's another ripper, WNBA draftee, comes back over here and in her first season at Lynx, and has had a real impact straight away. How have you found her game?
I am so impressed with Ames. She is known for her shooting, but I didn't know how well she could shoot. Just, knowing that, like, if I get her the ball, it's going up and it's going in. Like, she's just so consistent and accurate that, it's fun to be able to play with. And she, she's lighthearted, makes things very, like, fun and everything. So I just, being able to play with her has made it very easy, for everyone around us. And, she's just a great human. And, yeah, definitely makes things, she's just she's a great human.
And then there's Robbi Ryan, who had a really tough first game when Melbourne just targeted her as hard as they could to force turnovers, knowing that she was on debut. But she produced the most extraordinary final quarter against the Flames the other day. Despite having a suspected fractured eye socket the day before, comes out and just kept putting her body on the line, putting her head where she could have got it whacked, and just dominated that final period. Like, how have you found her transition from NBL 1 West to the WNBL?
Yeah, so she's been really aggressive. So she's, a guard that, she's strong and she's physical and no one can move her. But she, when she gets her head down and she gets her head on the rim, like, she's unstoppable. And I think that if she continues to bring what she brings to the game, she will make impacts. And like we saw against the Flames, like, she was able to make an impact on the floor. And, when she's got a mindset of, I'm going to do this, like, you can't stop her. And I just think that her being in this environment, she'll only just get better.
So as a team, you're 2-2. The league has a break this week, and then you face Melbourne, Southside and Townsville, which is a tough draw. Does it feel like a season-defining block of matches coming up?
No, I think that, we're going to take, game by game, like, take it day by day and, just work on what we need to improve on. And I think that if we do the right things within our group, it will just only make us better when we get to those games. And, in this league right now, it's anyone's day on anyone's game. So, like, we just have to work on what we're doing and concentrate on what we do. And I think that will just, help us get over the line during these games.
Well, thank you so much for coming on. You've been terrific to watch throughout this season. You've been terrific to watch throughout last season. You've been great coming on here multiple times as a guest. So really appreciate your time and good luck for the rest of the season.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Well, that's it for this week's episode of the Dribble Podcast. Thanks to Mike Kelly from the Wildcats and Lauren Scherf for the Lynx for their time. Remember, you can read all of your basketball news in the West Australian newspaper and keep logging on to thewest.com.au. Thank you to the magnificent Kate Ryan for all of her production work as always. We'll be back next week with another episode of the Dribble Podcast.